Waiting for the Instagram part to go live. Or it's not going to, and whatever. I don't care. That's fine. Well, welcome those who have already tuned in. It's awesome. Sorry to keep you waiting. I am really good at banter, especially post ADHD meds. So I'm Reverend Yost, and I've been hanging out with friends across different theological traditions to talk about the theologies and themes of K-pop demon hunters, and it's been an absolute blast so far. And I've learned so many cool things, and have gotten to talk about one of what I think the greatest pieces of media and art that we've had in a long time. Maybe not a long time, but it's one of the greatest ones we've had this year, and it's definitely a hit with the children who love to sing Golden at the preschool that is inside of my church. And so this time, as we hang out and talk about Takedown, I'm joined with my friend Niko. You're going to introduce yourself a bit.
Hello, everybody. My name's Nikolai, or Niko for short. I am a deacon at Grace Apostolic Church in Northeast DC. You would think I would know exactly where in DC it is since I've been there since 2012, more recently. But also grew up there um, in my childhood. So you would think I would know where that's at. But nonetheless, deacon at Grace Apostolic Church, I'm glad to be here and to talk about what seems to be a very popular movie that I have watched half willingly, half against my will, like probably 20 times. And then even I couldn't escape it on the drives to daycare, on the drives from daycare, because Daddy, can we listen to K-pop Demon Hunters? Yes, baby. We can listen to K-pop Demon Hunters on the way home. So very excited to be talking about this wonderful movie.
That's awesome. Um, and I feel like there are substantially worse songs targeted to children to be
Yes.
stuck on repeat. I think it's getting close to the season where the preschool likes to do like the penguin song, and I don't. It sounds like the Hokey Pokey, but involving penguins and how they march. And
Mm.
um, yeah, I will be singing that one for a while and have to just listen to K-pop Demon Hunters in order to get it out of my head, I guess.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
so yeah, I uh, this song was an interesting one that originally, until I guilted Niko into joining me, was going to be solo because no one really wants to talk about Takedown. And I actually talked to a lady who had recently published an article about like theological themes in K-pop Demon Hunters, and so I was like, "Hey, do you want to talk about Takedown?" And her response was, "I almost turned off the movie at that song." Um, and I didn't get a full. She said a whole bunch of other things, but like that, like made me go, "Oh, I really wish we could talk about Takedown because I think that would be some really cool stuff." And I think a lot of it might actually come from. I went and rewatched it a bit. The opening scene when they start writing the song is Rumi on the guitar, just brooding with this deep anger and hatred as everything's going down. Um, So I'll go ahead and just do my usual. Like, what are some of your initial thoughts or things you want to talk about when it comes to Takedown?
Um, so you would think that as someone who has listened to that songs more than they would willingly choose to, that I would know the lyrics, but I'm a visual and hands-on learner. So like when it comes to songs, I hear, you know,
Mm.
I hear the music, and then I hear the lyrics, and I have to listen to it a few times to actually process like what they're saying to me, which isn't the best. But so I when I went to go look it up, I had all of their songs have bits of Korean in them,
Mhm.
right? And when I was looking at the lyrics of the song, I was like, what are these um Korean bits? And when I had them, when I used ChatGPT, because that's the new thing instead of Google, translate, it was very um intriguing to me how those Korean sentences were more aggressive than the rest of the lyrics.
which
I'm
is
gonna take
not the
you.
case in the other songs at all.
Not at all. Like, the other Korean, bits in the other songs are more like playful or like culturally, something that they would say. But when I looked it up, I was like, oh man, these are definitely more more aggressive than the rest of the lyrics. If you just take them out, at their singularity. But like, I mean, the to your point of the song itself is very different than the others in that sense, because they're talking about taking something down, in this case demon. So the fact that the Korean lines were more aggressive than their English counterparts really stuck out to me, and I was like, that's different, and I wonder why they chose to do that in that way. So
Yeah,
yeah.
because that's also really different from from how it's done, which is like more like poppy, like introducing you to all of the tensions of the film. Um, and it's like playful references to violence, right?
Mhm.
A
Yeah.
fit check in my napalm era, which is
Yeah.
like a, an inherently like deeply violent statement.
Yeah.
And like, who doesn't enjoy singing that part?
Right, because that's such a, like, at without actually digging into the napalm part of it, like, that bar goes hard,
Yeah,
the way she delivers it, and in the movie when she's just got the head
yeah.
twitch, and then the character herself,
Mhm.
she reminds me of, I forget her name, but if you ever watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, she's
Oh yes,
like
Rosa.
the yes, thank you. They have similar characteristics, right? So like it just went hard, and I was like, okay, I'll see you when she dropped that. But yeah, it's definitely just more
Mm.
aggressive. So these again, the Korean lines being more aggressive sort of like threw me off, because like, so I'll go over the first one. I am not going to try to pronounce it at all, but the first one, let me look at it real quick. So it's uh, take down, so sweet, easy on the eyes, for the see your real face. And then it's like, after the chorus again, take down, it's it's the third line before you'll be begging and crying, all of you dying, never miss my shot. So it's the line before that. And the translation is losing my mind, I trample you and carve my blade. Like that that I was like, "Whoa, okay, so we're not just taking you down, like, I'm stomping you out, I'm carving you up with, like," because it's one thing to talk
Yeah,
about inflicting damage, but it's another thing to, like, describe the tool and the sharpening of it. So I was like, They serious. They serious
yeah,
about this."
yeah. I put it in the chat for people that are joining us live, but I found that lyricsondemand.com, it's cool because you can have it do the English with the Korean in it and the English
Okay.
with the Korean translated like side by side.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like I didn't notice this when I was looking at them earlier. Um, because it translates the next time that that happens is after the when your patterns start to show. I don't think you're ready for the takedown. I step boldly into the darkness and destroy everything.
Yeah, the translation that Chat GPT gave me was "down proudly before the darkness and destroy it all." So very similar.
Wow.
The thought is there, but yeah, like, and they just slide that in because in the American market, for those of us who don't speak Korean, we're just, mm. But they're landing hard in their intent, and and what they're about. So
Yeah, and we see that in the plot when they're trying to build the song because there's a time when they all go fighting demons again mid writing the song, and I don't remember who does it, but someone throws one of the demons and they bounce off of a bunch of different things.
mhm.
And Mira is like, "Oh, that's our beat. Like they're literally using
Oh
like
yeah.
the crashing of these demons against things as like the beat to a song.
Yeah, she threw the demon up and it like bounced between two buildings. Okay, yeah, I remember that. And she heard it and was like, that's it. Yeah.
Wow. Um and the big tension through all of this is like this is big bad, right? um and like the thing that I keep coming back to throughout these conversations is the idea of like Rumi as an incomplete prophet, through the way that Richard Rohr talks about the prophets, and I think it's called the Tears of Everything. And he like talks about how like Jonah and John the Baptist are incomplete prophets because they're left with like just this righteous anger that isn't transformed. And like
Mhm.
this is like pure righteous anger that has gone into the hatred category, like the pure annihilation of enemies category instead of just like the
Yeah.
anger part. And it has been transformed, but not not into a way that brings more life, but instead
Mhm.
that like steps into the darkness or stands bold, like what was it, stands proud before the darkness and just
Yeah. And
like
destroy it all. Yeah. Um,
wow.
and then so the third one is not as, strong in the sense that it says, "Don't try to deceive me." Where is that at? That's just before.
After the you're the master of illusion.
Yeah. So you're the master of illusion. Don't try to deceive me. But then the fourth and I think last Korean portion is dragging your soulless life. So where's that in the
It's
song?
right after a broken soul trapped in the nastiest shell.
Dragging your soulless life. Yeah. So
And watch you die is the English part at the end of that. Like it's like
okay.
ah you can try but you can't hide. Wow. And
Very strong.
yeah,
There's got to be a better word for strong, but like that's just what comes to mind when
um it is
I get.
potent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um and um the the tension in the film is Rumi just realized that Jinyu is capable of compassion.
Mhm.
And at the same time, she knows that when she's writing about demons, she's writing about herself because she's dealing with her own pattern stuff, right?
Right.
Um and so like the cute scenes like when they're fighting as they're discovering the beat is also when she's just like grilling one of them, is like, "Hey, is Grimo holding you against your will? Like is he making you do this?" Like trying to understand, like, is it just one person? Is he just lying to her? Like, is there something more going on here? And so you can kind of already see a bunch of this shatter.
Mhm.
And um I we know from when she's singing Golden, the part that she like when her voice gives out is because she's losing her authenticity.
Mhm.
And it even gives out when they're first starting to write the lyrics. And um it was when she said, "I'm about to switch up these vibes. I
Mhm.
finally opened my eyes." And when they were writing the song, she couldn't say those lines. Um, and it makes me wonder if like it's because the pivot that the song is taking them is not the pivot that is more genuine to who she is. Like, um,
And I
yeah.
like that you're going that way because that was one thing that I wanted to discuss at one point is like, the fact that you know, she couldn't sing this song because of, her half demon and the patterns and, and realizing their, just the true destructive intent and truly getting rid of them with I don't want to hate, um, but with the hate in their hearts, it's like, she, I think at a certain point finds empathy in what they're saying because, like, I'm part of this
Mm,
unintentionally, unwillingly, with the patterns like that, if they're gonna do that to all of them, are they gonna do that to half of me? Right. Um, so yeah, that I thought that was an interesting part where you could see the the realization in certain scenes of like that are they gonna do this to me too? Because I'm part of that, you know.
Yeah. And that's the big fear that keeps her unwilling to share that part of herself with her friends, like the people that
Hmm.
love her the most.
Yeah.
That shame thing, which we find out is like what is powering Guima. And then she's like hearing about how like Genu is trying to strip himself of the shame. Like he's
Hmm.
bearing the shame because of how he lost his family,
Yeah.
because of his actions, and he's like he is like kind of lying to her at times, but you can see him also breaking in the way that he's just trying to like get like unburden himself from the shame through the ways that are familiar to him.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's that the joint signing scene, which is a part of the development of this song also, is like
Yeah.
one of the cutest scenes ever. First, because it gives us one of the most powerful lines in the film, where Genu says, "If hate could defeat Guima, I would have done it a long time ago."
Yeah.
Because what
Yeah.
I
That.
think that's the big thing with this song is like this song is about embodying hatred.
Mhm.
Um,
And I forget who brought this up in a previous episode. It might have been you, but pointing out that Genu did say that like that's something that has really stuck with me and transformed, my thought process about the world and spirituality is like, you know, we are all capable of sin. We
mm,
all have those things that we battle on a day-to-day basis.
yeah,
We are not perfect because if you were perfect, you wouldn't be here, right? Because there's only been two that have been transfigured, and everybody else, what's your excuse, right? Like if you were perfect, God would have been like, "We good, my bro? Let's go. You here? Let's go to heaven." So to all that to say, you need to present the gospel with love. And
mm,
I remember in high school driving. I went to high school in Guam, and we would drive Route One, which was or Marine Corps Drive, which literally went from the most southern point of the island to the most northern point. And the towns where the two malls were, there were Christians that would set up speakers and yell at everybody that could hear, "You're going to hell. You're going to hell." And it was always like, do you really think you're bringing people that way? Do you really think that you're converting people to Christ by not showing love, by not loving thy neighbor as thyself? Like that's one of the big things that I try to live by and serve, God's people by is, and let alone the what people call the golden rule. You know, would you want this person treating you the way,
mm,
right? Like, would you want them to treat you the way you're treating them?
yeah,
Um, which is like not to get too far from K-pop and delve into politics, but like that's a
yeah,
uh, hard part of the current world for me. You
yeah,
know, um, because I saw this shirt the other day that was like, "I'm a red letter Christian, not a red hat Christian," and I was like, "Oh, I need to buy that, bro." Like y'all have not read like you have not read the man that you claim to follow. You have not read what he said.
yeah,
You know, so when for Genu to say that, if I could have done it, with hate,
yeah,
done, bro, would have been done. But
yeah,
it takes love. He's
yeah,
not really in a position to do that, given his current state. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and like so first to say like this is still like completely within the reins of like the film because um why I think this is so good is that just like any good like sermon illustration that's generic enough so that everyone can connect with
Mhm,
it, yet specific enough that it's an authentic portrayal of a story. Like
mhm.
this authentically portrays the struggles of being Korean American, right? As Tom very much laid out for us.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and because it's getting to the heart of the matter, it speaks to us in our own context like good art should.
Mhm,
And the first thing that came to mind the first time I watched it was like, how do we help Christians, the red letter Christians, communicate and talk to Christian nationalists? Because that's been my work for like most of the year. There are a few Christian nationalists at my church that still feel like they belong there, which is interesting because they also approved of the church's values, which includes like hospitality, um, loving people, inclusivity, and
mhm.
justice.
Yeah,
Um, and like there's a disconnect there, and so many of my people are would consider themselves like the red letter Christians kind of thing. Um,
mhm,
and they um, were struggling to figure out how to talk to them. And so the book
mhm,
that we've been doing for like our pastor study that we're finally finishing like next week is Disarming Leviathan, which has a
mm.
podcast and everything too. And the whole premise is of like, how do we evangelize to Christian nationalists? And it even goes back to go like, what is good evangelism? Good
Yeah.
evangelism is not shame-based evangelism, which doesn't change people, right? Like that's what we hear.
'Cause, like, it has its place, you know, um, to some people, right? It may get them in the door,
Hmm,
because you have to realize what you're doing wrong first before you can change it. So it has its place, because as a kid who grew up in the church, I remember, my first pastor in San Diego, um, he was definitely like a what they call fire and brimstone preacher,
yeah,
where he was like, preaching avoid hell, and so it has its place. But in the big grand scheme of things, you need love in that personal relationship with Christ, and not just trying to avoid hell.
yeah,
You know. So,
yeah. I would say that what you're describing having its place isn't even necessarily shame,
mhm,
but guilt. Like the guilt is the knowing I messed up, and
yeah,
shame is frequently I'm bad, like I'm not a good person.
right.
Um, where like Genesis 1 lays it out that we're good, and Genesis 2 lays it out that we mess it up. And so the more like I find guilt to be more accurate and understandable, and shame is just like so not helpful.
Yeah.
Um, which is so to in pure confession because you mentioned the the red letter Christian shirt, right?
Mhm.
I have a very similar shirt. It is I'm a love your neighbor Christian, not a storm the Capitol kind. Which is just as
uh,
sassy. I have a couple of sassy Jesus shirts, like Jesus flipped tables for less. Um,
I think I saw that one, and I love that one. Like, I love um that illustration, and just him. I could just see him now if he was in there today. It's just, what are you guys doing? I love it.
mm, and and I actually think the song within the context of the film
Hmm.
gives us hints towards what's going to happen later. Like this, how do we transform how we talk to each other instead of allowing hatred and shame-based tactics to like manipulate people or like to try to manipulate people when really it doesn't actually lead people to more love. Um, and it's when Rumi's trying to rewrite the bridge,
Mhm.
or at least the because there's when your patterns start to show part. The
Yeah.
original is it makes hatred want to grow out of my veins, and instead, what she starts singing in a slower and it actually kind of felt like she was singing in the minor key, but I don't know if it's just because it was slower. It felt like it hit different.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, she's got "I see a pain that lies below,"
Mhm.
and it's like that shared understanding, and really seeing each other. Um, because one of the things that the guy in Disarming Leviathan talks about is how like you want to honor the things that they value, and then like ask like it sounds like you're scared of something, like you're scared of this, like can we get deeper into that, and like
Mhm.
deeper into defining that pain that lies below.
That's nice.
Right.
You said that's you said that's disarming
Leviathan.
Leviathan.
Yeah. One day, at the advice of someone incredibly smart, I will get better at having show notes in the comments.
Mhm.
Nowadays, I could probably just throw the transcript at AI and it would tell me what the thing should be, but I'm lazy
Yeah.
or busy. This is really just a passion, fun project that's been great so far. So yeah, that pretty much, because the thing that happens as she writes that line is she goes to see Genu and starts to try to come up with another way of defeating Guima, another way of sealing the Han Moon, one that doesn't um, destroy Genu's chance of being set free from his shame, and one that like restores dignity to Rumi and all of that stuff. So yeah, I I I have my lovely hot mess of things that I have been scribbling out. I think we've talked about all kinds of really good things, and I think that I've gotten all the things that I can think of down. And I know that I have said think like 20 times in the past 60 seconds. So, any thoughts you got?
No, we've, covered the two main things that I, had brought up. I'm glad we squeezed every minute we put out of them. It was very a great discussion. And
Yeah.
I've loved uh, all the episodes so far. Seeing and what he calls an amateur Korean American, and his take, because like as a Filipino American, I could understand a lot of his stories from,
Mm,
Filipino aspect, not directly relating to the movie, but like I could see his points of view, it could and understand it. And then I love you addressing, which you brought up in this episode, Christian nationalism, which is very prevalent today in your episode with the um, she was a student of demonology. Is that what it's
she's
called?
a seminary student, but she recently took a class on
Yeah,
demonology
yeah,
with like a
yeah,
at the Catholic seminary in DC. Uh,
yeah. All the episodes have been great. Glad to be a part of it.
yeah,
I look forward to see who you have on next, and keep up
yeah,
the fun work. Even though it's not work, it's a
yeah,
fun side project, but
yeah.
keep it going. It's great.
Yeah. Next week I do have Ashley Horde, who is a I think associate pastor at a Mennonite uh congregation, right? No. What is it actually? I know how to talk about things that are true. Uh oh yeah, North Baltimore Mennonite Church. So it's cool to have like a Mennonite, and then Angela's going to come back for the other demon song. um and and I think I'm going to talk to her about like that wider picture, like how I think it's easier for us to feel like, oh, like the demon songs, like how are they singing that? But I feel like there's so much of that in the other ones, like how like the myth of redemptive violence and like the normalizing of anger that transforms into hatred towards your enemies is just like built in to like our society. I think that'll be a really fun conversation with her. And then I'm wrapping it up with an Episcopalian when we talk about what it sounds like. So I've got a good chunk of the mainline denominations, and like just like the Ecumenical Institute and at St. Mary's Seminary and University it's not truly ecumenical until you get someone from the apostolic tradition on with you too. Because very frequently apostolic folks get left out of ecumenical work.
Thank you for the inclusion.
Thank you for being easily swayed into it. So this has been great. How would you like people to connect with you if they want to find you later?
Um, you. It seems like you don't, um, or have not had any partners that are very social media adept, because I have a Facebook, I do not use it. I have an Instagram, I do not use it. So I would probably just say, default to the connect with Yost and he'll connect with me. But or if you're really serious, you can just go to our website, or even just email our church. That's Grace Apostolic Church at gmail.com. And again, that's Grace Apostolic Church in Washington, D.C. Because again, I have social media, but I'm a lurker every once in a while, and I never post or use them. So
That's fair. That's fair. Well, cool. Thank you, and thanks for those who joined us live, and anyone that's checking out the recording. You can always connect with me through the link tree link wherever, and you can send comments, questions, or whatever through there. And I mean, really, if we get a lot of random comments and thoughts, then I might just have to have other people come back and hang out some more. Uh, there was the joke with Chris last week about possibly doing like a series on different atonement theories, which is like the different reasons why people believe Jesus died, kind of thing. Because the text gives us so many different incomplete answers that there's so many theories out there, and it would be that would be a fun ecumenical conversation at times too. So yeah, thank you all for joining, and for those that are watching, thanks. Well, watching later, thanks for that too. And eventually, I'll get good at ending these things. And Niko helped me figure out a way to make it so that the recording doesn't just end mid sentence. So thanks again, y'all.